In this tutorial, we will use the check mode of Drakkar HitPoints to simulate an explosion. We will use the example scene area damage. We have a bomb with a hit point, whose definition sets the type to check and the intensity to strong. The intensity is a value associated with the hit point that allows us to differentiate between different levels of damage when applying it. We also see that it has a fire effect in the effects area. We'll get back to that in a moment. The bomb has a script very similar to those in previous tutorials, except for the hit point check call. This call happens in a specific frame, rather than over a time interval as was the case with the set method of the cast mode. Let's see how effects work. First, let's make sure we have a Drakkar effect list inside a resources folder. This can be easily created via Drakkar Game Drakkar Effect List. It is a list of all the damage effects we want to handle in our game. In this case, we have defined only fire, which is represented by the color red. The Generate Code button creates a script called Damage Effects Enums, which defines an enum of our effects so that we can use them in our scripts. Important, there can only be one script of this type in the project. If you add new effects, simply regenerate the code. This is what the generated code looks like. It's a simple enum. We then created a fire effect via Drakkar Game HitPoint Damage Effect. We select the desired effect and set the damage per second and duration in seconds with an optional random variation. By adding the effect to the effects array of our hit point, it will communicate the effect to the target when hit. Our targets are the individual bricks of a wall. They have a target collision component and a script implementing iHitTarget. The hit damage method checks if the target is still alive and if the damage was not caused by a cast mode, making it immune to melee attacks. It also checks if the hit point intensity is strong or higher, so weaker explosions do not affect it. Then, it applies a physical force to the brick's rigid body, making it roll. We also see that the set time damage method is used. In this case, it simply turns a fire particle system on or off when the fire effect starts or ends. Technically, the apply time damage method should also be used, but for the purposes of this tutorial, our brick will not need to take fire damage. Now let's check that everything is working correctly. For further details, refer to the Drakkar HitPoints documentation.